that Hannah?
Mr. Ballard said hey.
Hi, Hannah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boyd County Board of Education School Board meeting tonight. Before we get started, I'll take the roll. We have Bill Boblett.
Here.
Mindy Stanley.
Present.
Judy Nichols.
Present.
Randy Stapleton.
Here.
Tammy Pruitt.
Present.
Okay, and Linda Day. Thank you all for joining us. Pursuant to the meeting protocols for novel coronavirus COVID-19 as issued by the Governor's Executive Order 2020-215 declaring a state of emergency throughout Kentucky pursuant to his power under the Kentucky Constitution and KRS Chapter 39A regarding the threats to public health presented by COVID-19 pandemic of March 6, 2020. The Boyd County Board of Education adopted a resolution on March 24, 2020 with regard to meetings held on and after the adoption of the resolution and subject to limited exceptions described as during the present state of emergency is not feasible under KRS 61.840 to precisely identify and provide a primary physical location for a video teleconference at which the public may attend and view. Boyd County Board of Education shall conduct its meeting in conformity with the procedures set forth in KRS 61.826 for video teleconferencing of meetings. Therefore, this meeting will be by video teleconferencing and may be viewed by the public at the live link. You can go to our webpage at boydcountyschools.us and follow the YouTube channel link. Okay, call this meeting to order. Time being 6:02. We'll now have the pledge to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have the reading of the board goals. All students will be active, self-motivated, lifelong learners. All students will graduate and demonstrate the skills and the knowledge to support productive citizenship. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Second. Mindy. We have an addendum to the agenda. Do you all approve that addendum?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Okay. We have no student and staff presentations due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and the Governor's Executive Order 2020-215, declaring a state of emergency throughout Kentucky and schools being placed on NTI days. We will not have any recognition tonight. Our dialogue topics, we will have none for this meeting. Early childhood programs was with Carla Malone. Student Code of Conduct booklet draft with Pete Fraley, Darius Sue Williams, and Matt Spade. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act Part B, IDEA, Darius Sue Stevens and Carla Malone will be moved to a later date. These are all due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and the Governor's Executive Order 2020-215 declaring a state of emergency throughout Kentucky and schools being placed on NTI days. We will not have dialogue topics at this board meeting. We'll move on to our reports and communications. Do we have any questions or comments on those?
Ms. Day, if I may.
Yes.
I just want to say, and probably I could have said this up at student staff presentations and recognitions. I want to say how proud I am of our Board of Education, of our students, and of our staff here in Boyd County, and what they've been doing. What our staff has been doing to serve our kids during these unsettled times, during these unprecedented times. No one had a playbook for this, and we're working it as we go, and I think we've done a wonderful job with it. Our staff and you all as a board and as superintendent, I just want to say how appreciative I am of you all and of our staff, our volunteers that are helping serve kids meals, our maintenance, custodial, cooks, everyone in our district. They're coming together and they're working hard for our kids, and I appreciate that. And I know our students, it's been tough for them. It's tough for their parents. I can't imagine being a senior right now or being a senior parent right now, some of the things that they're going through, things that they're missing. And it saddens me. It truly does. But I appreciate them working hard and continue to work hard on everything that they're doing right now. And just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Yes, I would like to say that as well. We don't always get to express how we don't see everyone as often as you do, Mr. Boblet, but it makes me so proud of our school district. Everybody's pitching in. Everybody is just truly cares and wants to make this as special as we can for our seniors, especially, and all of our kids, of course. But thank you to everyone. We appreciate all the hard work that you put in.
Absolutely.
Okay, anything else? Anybody have any questions or comments on reports and communications? Okay, we will move on to our action items. 9.1, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the revised draft powers and duties of the Board of Education regular minutes time policy 01.42 as presented by Kentucky School Boards Association, KSBA. This is the second reading. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy, Mindy, discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.2, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve change order number 001-DPO21 for the Boyd County High School Phase 4 athletics in the amount of a decrease of $9,500 as presented by Sherman Carter Barnhart Architects. Contractor train, deduct $9,500 from the DPO-21 train per proposal. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy, Mindy, it's always nice to see a deduction.
Yes, absolutely.
Any discussion?
Mr. Boblet,
Yes, ma'am.
as I clicked on the attachment, it said it was a refund for an HVAC. Is that right?
I don't have access to those documents right now. I don't have a secondary device, but I believe that is correct. I know as you go on to number 3,
That's the materials and stuff. Yeah.
yes, I believe you are correct. That there was or they don't need that, either that material that they originally bid for, that machinery that they originally bid for, so they're taking off $9,500.
Well, it kind of looked like a unit or something. Wonder why they would not need that. You don't know?
No, ma'am, I do not know right now at this time.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.3, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve change order number 001 on the Boyd County High School Phase 4 athletics for the decreased amount of $4,040.97 as submitted by Sherman Carter Barnhart Architects. Do I have a motion?
Miss Day,
Yes.
I have $440.97.
What did I say? I'm sorry.
4,000.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I just want to make sure.
Yes, I'm
think-
so sorry. It is $440.97. I apologize.
Well, no
Thank
problem. This is the one I printed off a few days ago, so I thought something changed, and I should have printed off a new one, but it has my notes on it, so I didn't want to change it.
It's okay. I wasn't paying close enough attention, I guess. All right. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy? Mindy? Any more discussion?
Are we on time with the athletics? Like our
So far, it's coming along pretty good. The original, what do they call, not final completion, but substantial completion was the end of May.
Uh-huh.
So far, it's coming along. I know they're putting trusses on today. They haven't had any real slowdowns. They've not had as many workers. Some of the people aren't working as much, but so far it seems like it's going well. Bob said it on the last 2 meetings. There's been a little hold up on the turf. They were hoping to get the turf down this week, but they need a couple of days of dry weather. He sent us a picture earlier. Yesterday's picture, there was a lot of water on the turf, and in today's picture, there was almost no water on the turf. So it drains, or not turf, but on the soil where the turf's going to be. So it drains really well. So we're real happy with those things. They need a couple of days of dry weather to start that process of actually putting the carpet down. So it seems to be going pretty well so far.
it looks really good up there.
Yeah.
It
No
does
real big
look really
hiccups.
good. I like to drive up every once a week and
Yeah.
we go for a drive, and I always like to drive by to see what it's looking like, and it looks great.
Of course, I'm usually by there, if not every day, every couple of days, and but my father-in-law drives by a lot, and he gives me a report. So.
Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.4, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve employment of individuals by using emergency certified teachers on an as-needed basis for substitute teaching for the 2020-2021 school year as pursuant to KRS 161.102. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Mindy? Is that Mindy? Any discussion?
Mr. Bob, will you explain that to me? Is that for, like, if you needed a sub to fill in the rest of the year, that kind of sub?
It could be. It's mainly just to hire substitutes that don't have fully certificate, not fully certified, and then the rules say that we have to approve that because they're not fully certified. So, this is something that we've done every year.
For substitute teachers?
Well,
Or you talking about people want to take a full-time position once the teacher's not there, right?
well, this is just for substitutes, individuals using
I know
emergency
that, but someone that would be a substitute for a teacher for some reason to finish out the year, the semester, is that what you're talking about? Because
It could
teachers
be.
don't have to be certified to substitute.
They have to have a certification to substitute. They don't have to be certified in individual area, but they have to apply to be a substitute now to the State Department, and the State Department sends them back a certification saying that they can substitute. Now, it doesn't say where they can sub. It's real general now, but there is an application, or there is a certification now for substitutes. They have to apply for that. Now, what this is just for emergency substitutes, or excuse me, emergency certified. So someone who is, might be working. Basically, what this allows is for them to work in any subject area as needed. It's not someone that's going to take a certified teacher's job. We wouldn't hire somebody that's a social studies teacher to work in a math class, but this will allow them to work in that if the teacher's out for a couple of days or something like that.
Are they they're going to get an emergency teaching certificate, period?
No, it's
You're saying
emergency.
it's not a subject matter or not
No, it's emergency substitute teaching certificate. That certificate says that they're allowed to substitute.
Oh. Well, the reason I question that, I don't know if you remember or not, but some time ago we made the front page of the newspaper and had to take some classes for.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that?
I had to do that class as a
when
middle
we
school
were-
principal for whatever reason.
Yeah, when we were getting people certified
Mhm.
so they could take over and not even have we had teachers that were already certified in the field. And
Got to apply for
instead
the
of
position.
hiring those people, we got other people certified.
Mhm.
to fill those positions. So I just wanted to make sure that was not our path now.
Oh, absolutely not. No,
Okay.
we
I
get to,
didn't realize the state has to certify you to sub now.
yes, you'll get a teaching certificate now that says that you're certified to substitute.
How many hours do you have to
That-
have to get that?
I can't quote you on that. I'm not for sure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, anything else? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.5, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the final fiscal year 2021 allocations to site-based decision-making SBDM school councils as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy and Mindy, discussion?
Mr. Boblin, have you feedback from the schools about those allocations?
We've been meeting with principals here last week, and I still have some more meetings that I have to schedule. So seems like things are going pretty well for them right now. Most schools are going to be able to stay pretty much like they were last year. We're working finagling a few numbers on one of the schools to see how we can fit to keep their current their current allocations they have this year. But it's working pretty well.
Good.
Scott and I have been meeting with them.
I looked at it, but that didn't mean the schools were happy because I thought it looked okay.
No one's ever happy if you lose staff, but
No,
I think they understand, especially the situation that we're in right now. Just to maintain is, it'll be a win for them, and that's what we always try and do. I want them to try and maintain because I don't want to see cuts. I don't want to see cuts in staff and cuts in our schools. When you lose 5 or 6 kids, and some are losing a little bit more than that, but you still have to have those teachers and that staff there in order to educate the kids. So we try our best. Scott's great at working with our numbers, and we may pull them either their SEEK allocation, Title I dollars. The district throws in maybe a little bit too. We don't haggle over a few $1,000s in order to keep a teacher in the classroom.
Good.
I guess all our eggs are out of the Brady basket. Is that the way you read that?
That's the way I see it.
Okay.
All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.6, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the contract with Kelly Galloway Smith Goolsby to perform audit of the 2020 financial records of the school district at a cost of $19,400 as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy? Mindy, second. Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.7, consider superintendent's and finance director's recommendation to renew EMC Insurance Company for liability, property, and fleet insurance in the amount of $251,583 and renew Kentucky Employers Mutual Insurance, KEMI, in the amount of $90,558.10 for workers' compensation insurance and renew CFC underwriting for cyber insurance in the amount of $6,705.55 for the 2020-2021 school year as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.8, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the extension of the 2019-2020 bids for supplies, services, and equipment to September 30th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy and Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.9, review and approve the Bowie County Head Start application and documentation for the cost of living allocation, COLA, supplemental grant and the quality improvement allocation funding grant to assist with the continuation of services for 160 Head Start eligible children in rural Bowie County as presented by Director Carla Malone. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy, Mindy, discussion?
Mr. Boblett, is that the ones we added last year?
This is her regular grant, and we're going to continue on with that. This comes from Head Start money, and so our board put in the amount for her that additional class that we go with. What this is that the grant gives you a cost of living allowance, and what we do, Scott, don't get up because I want you to explain this. So you'll probably explain a little bit better than me. I saw you.
I was just watching the dog over here, just real quick.
Mine just ran behind me. What that does, that COLA, they give them that extra money, and what we do, we put it into the district account, and then it offsets some of the costs that we pay for their teachers. Am I explaining that correctly, Scott?
I understand that. My question is, are we going to continue to pay for that extra class for the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm fine.
We'll have that on our budget whenever we
Okay.
set that May meeting. Of course, I know I've talked about this a couple of times, but we've been a little inundated with some other things, but that'll be on my budget kind of wish list whenever we
Okay.
talk again.
It's like our in-kind services type stuff as well.
Okay. All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.10, approve superintendent's recommendation to grant a $50 per week increment to all essential school employees required to work on site during the state of emergency declared by the governor through the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic period. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy? Mindy? Discussion?
Ms. Day,
Yes.
if I could, before you take that final vote, and I hope I'm doing this correctly, and Carol, you correct me if I'm wrong here. What I'd like to do, I'd like to put an end date on that as May 30th. We got some little bit of guidance today on some things, and I think that's a good end date. It kind of ends our summer feed. It ends some of those things that we're bringing a lot of people together, because you can see here in a little bit, Lonnie has some things on the agenda where she's going to do an increase for summer feed for her staff, and basically what I've been doing with this extra, or not what I've been doing with the extra money, but this extra money is due to the increase, the additional services that our custodians, our maintenance, our bus drivers now, and our food service workers are doing. They're loading buses, they're loading the bags for food, they're doing a lot of those things. So I wanted to be sure and put that into the minutes, some of the things that they're doing for that additional extra service money. Of course, we discussed this briefly, way back whenever we looked at doing this, and I think it's well worth it, especially with those additional duties that they're doing.
Are the maintenance workers are still working?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I thought
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard.
Yeah,
you
they're getting a lot done right now. Kids aren't in the building, so they're able to do a lot of those jobs that get put off until after school's out. So they're doing those things. They're already waxing floors, which they usually don't do until the end of May.
Yeah.
I think Bob, when we started this, I don't know exactly how many work orders he had, but he had hundreds to get done. Today he told me they're down to 138. So I know at one time, and I don't know exactly when it was, but they had 400 work orders in their system, and now they're down to 138.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are,
So
are there any essential workers at the district office?
we have people that are going in. I have a schedule set for them. The ones that can work from home, I'm keeping them at home. But we have, I know Angie has to go in a lot because of payroll. There's a big printer that she has that she can't really bring home. There's some things, but I have a good schedule set up for them. So we have proper social distancing, and then the ones that can work from home, they're working from home.
So are they included in this?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
They're not around, tight, close, people like our food service and our
They're not
maintenance and those
exposed
things.
to.
Yes,
Okay.
they could be, but they're not with that larger groups of people.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to help them.
I understand. I appreciate it.
Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.11, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the amended 2020 or 2019-2020 school calendar due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic as presented by Marcy Prater, DPP. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy and Mindy. Any discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.12, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the amended KECSAC 2019-2020 calendar as presented by Marcy Prater, DPP. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy, Mindy, discussion?
Mr. Boblett, are they doing the NTI too,
Yes, ma'am.
from the Ramey East Step High School?
Yes, ma'am. They are doing paper pencil type packets. They work with the Ramey staff there to get that done because their kids are not allowed to access the technology
Oh,
because of their situation.
Yeah.
And Miss Day, that initial is what you said. You've heard Ann say this a lot. KECSAC.
Uh-huh.
That's KECSAC. That's what that is right there. When you hear that, so you don't oftentimes see it written out, like that. But it's
Right.
KECSAC. It's a whole acronym. I don't even know what it stands for, but it's alternative education and those type of things.
Okay. Anything else? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.13, pursuant to 704 KAR 3305, local district considerations and due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and issuance by the governor's executive order 2020-215 declaring a state of emergency throughout Kentucky pursuant to his power under the Kentucky Constitution and KRS Chapter 39A regarding the threats to public health presented by COVID-19 pandemic of March 6, 2020. Consider the superintendent's recommendation to waive the required amount of credits to graduate from 24 to 22, with the change being instead of 8 electives, seniors now only need 6, and waive the requirement of completing a civics test for 2019-2020 seniors, policy 08.113. These waivers are only temporary and not a change to board policy. This will be declared only for the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy, Mindy, discussion?
so next year we'll go back to the 24
Yes, ma'am.
and then the
They'll have to do the
civics
The,
test.
civics test and also the ILP. Also, that's that add-on that we have. That addendum is the ILP. Most kids will have their electives. There's, I think Tom said it affected 4 kids that wouldn't have electives that they would have probably put on either an alternative program, Plato, an alternative way of getting their credits, but with them not being in school, they couldn't do it. And of course, they haven't given the civics test yet. Some kids had their ILP completed, some did not. So that's because it's a board requirement. We have to waive it if we want to, which I think it's necessary.
How are we using or going to use those results of those civics tests?
Honestly, I'm not for sure how they'll use those. I know, it's a requirement, but I'm sure it's something that teachers will use in order to change instruction. When you look at how a student does on their assessment, you go back and think about how you're instructing students. Say, maybe I've missed this part. Maybe I need to, add on or not add on, but hit this topic a little harder for the next group because the assessment's given late. So it's tough to do anything with that group of kids, but it's a way that you can change your instruction for the next year.
Well, especially since they haven't had the law and justice since ninth grade.
It's been a while.
They'll need a little
Mhm.
refresher course on civics, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And I'm assuming the teachers will have copies of the test and
Honestly, I'm not for sure how that works, but I know they're giving guidance. They've done training on it and so forth. So maybe not specifically the test, but what's the topics that are going to be covered.
is it still a requirement, the ninth grade law and justice and world geography for social studies? Is that still a
World
requirement?
geography is, I know that. I'm not for sure about law and justice. I don't think that is anymore.
Well, they
Geography.
have a semester of each.
Mhm. I think it's just geography, I believe. I'd have to
Okay.
check with Mr. Holbrook on that.
Well, if they don't have to have law and justice, they're going to have a rough time passing that
Yeah.
civics test.
It looks like they've built in some of that stuff, some of the law and justice things into some of the other the coursework.
So you're saying they have a year of world geography?
I'm pretty sure they do now.
Um,
I'd have to double check that. Trying to think back about what my son took. And I definitely remember the world geography.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.14, consider superintendent's recommendation to have Boyd County High School graduation Saturday, May 16th at 2 p.m. with an inclement weather date of Sunday, May 17th at 2 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy? I think we may have lost Mindy. Oh,
There she is. She's on mute.
oh,
There you are.
Sorry.
it's okay. Tammy made the motion. Do I have a second?
What was it you just said? I'm sorry.
Do you want me to read the motion again?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. 9.14, consider superintendent's recommendation to have Boyd County High School graduation Saturday, May 16th at 2 p.m. with an inclement weather date of Sunday, May 17th at 2 p.m.
A second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Mr. Bobley, you going to tell us a little bit about that occasion?
Sure. What I
What
would
would
like
be
to
that?
add on that, what I would like to add on that, Ms. Day, is that we are also going to look at a possible full ceremony at a later date when that will be allowed. I don't know exactly when that'll be. It may be August, September, October, November, December. Who knows? And we were talking on a webinar today. The possibility of maybe and again, these are possibilities. In December, you think about if kids are going off to college or whatever, there's an opportunity there for breaks. Because we know as soon as school lets out, even though we're dealing with the coronavirus, kids move, kids join, they're in the military, they're doing those types of things. So we'd like to have a ceremony now and then the possibility of something once things are back to relative normal, where we can have a large group gathering. I don't want to do a ceremony in July and only be able to have 25 people there or something like that. I want to have, where we can do, for the most part, a ceremony like we normally would. So that's just to add that little caveat there.
That
But,
would be great. That would
yes.
be great.
Yeah. And we may not have a huge turnout, but those that come, that'll be great. A plan and what we're looking at is a drive through or drive up, however you want to say it, drive through ceremony along with some virtual components. I'm waiting on an appointment time with the health department. We have to get this approved through the health department, make sure that they're okay with it. We'll line the kids up. We'll have them, we'll have the valedictorian and salutatorian. They'll be first in their vehicle, one vehicle per graduate. Immediate family members will be in the vehicle. Of course, it's if they say they're their immediate family members, I'm going to have to go. We're going to go with that. And then we'll have the kids lined up in sections. I say lined up, they'll be in their vehicles according to how they're graduating in honors, high honors, very high honors. We'll have those groups available just like we would a normal graduation. So bottom line, what we're doing, instead of that person walking, they're going to be driving. They're going to come up the hill, come through the U there at the front of the building. The current plan is, again, be mindful. I have to get this approved through the health department. They'll be able to, the graduate will be able to get out of the car. They'll have a sign on the side of their car that has their name on it. Congratulations, Sally Smith. And that way, Mr. Holbrook will be able to know who's in that car, because you won't be able to really see him because he'll be back, not in the shadows, but away from the vehicles. He'll be able to announce their name. Right now, we hope that the graduate will be able to get out of the car, walk across the stage. They will have their diploma cover already. They'll be able to get a picture, kind of graduation picture. We have a professional photographer that's going to take the picture. We also want to be able to allow one person from the vehicle. Originally, I said parent, but it was told to me maybe the parent might not be able to get out of the car. You never know a situation like that. So if they want, they can get a picture, with an iPhone. You know how that's going to go. And then they'll get back in the car, drive away, make a left out of the U, and kind of post at the bottom of the hill. Then we plan on doing after everyone's done, we're going to do a parade for them, take them down 180, down into 60, US 60, and kind of in the parade right around Bob McCullough Drive where the board office is, kind of let it spread out from there. We have MyTown TV that's committed to broadcast it live on Facebook Live or whatever it is, how they broadcast like our ball games. We'll do a pre-recorded valedictorian and salutatorian speech, pre-recorded speech to Mr. Holbrook. Trying to think what I'm missing. I'm sure I'm missing something, but we've got a pretty detailed plan so far. Again, I want to meet with the health department, make sure everything's correct on that, and we're doing everything within guidelines right now. So I think it's going to be
Are you
Yes,
building some kind of platform there? When you say stage, is that what you're talking about?
We have the current graduation stage that we use. It's only about a foot high. It's not real high. So we're going to look at that. We have our senior sponsors also looking at the possibility of getting a higher stage. If you've ever been to prom, you know how they do the prom, they bring in people for pictures. That'll be higher for them. The only thing about that stage is hard to get a ramp because it's so high that we usually can't find a ramp for something like that. So they're, if we have some ADA issues, some disability issues, that may be a little bit of a struggle for them to come up on the ramp. Unless it's the family member, we couldn't be able to help them because of the social distancing guidelines. So we're still working out some of those specifics to see how to work, and it's, it's not going to be perfect, not what we want, obviously, but I think it will allow us an opportunity to honor our grads while they're still together, so to speak. I believe if we wait and wait, they start to spread out. They start to leave, and some won't, and some will. We know that, but right now they're still together, and they're still considered a class, and they're always going to be considered a class. But they're together as a group. They're a group of seniors. Once you finish school, then people start to spread out, and so I want to do something for them now, and then look at something later on if that's a possibility.
So are the valedictorian and the salutatorian, it's a pre-recorded speech?
Yes, ma'am. Also, I forgot, we have an FM transmitter. Basically, it's a radio station. They used to use it at Ponderosa. If your kids went to Ponderosa, whenever Matt was there, when Mr. Spade was there, he would broadcast over that FM transmitter. So we can broadcast that so people can tune into their cars. Still have it'll be on Facebook Live too, but it's so that'll broadcast over that area. It doesn't broadcast real far. Mr. Spade seems to think it should broadcast over the area where we have cars. It probably won't go past or down over the hill, but so that'll be an opportunity for them. So we'll kind of piece it together, and they'll, and we'll have people out there that guides them and tells them when to start. And we also are going to broadcast Pomp and Circumstance, the graduation music and so forth. So we're going to try our best to make it as nice as possible. And I think it will be nice, but obviously it's going to be different.
So the valedictorian nor the salutatorian, they are not going to get up on the stage?
No, ma'am, they will not. You're looking at bending some rules. I'm a little worried right now if they're going to let the kids come out of the car. But when you're talking into microphones and doing things like that, you're passing microphones. You're up there doing a speech. There's issues that can come about whenever you talk. That I don't want to have for our kids, because then you have another kid walking by that area, and it, again, looking to what the health department will allow us to do. I haven't confirmed all this with the health department, but they will be able to do the speech, but won't be able to do it live.
Well, what I was thinking, our driving in church
Mhm.
It's broadcasted from a radio station. I don't see David. I don't remember what it is, but we also take our phone and we watch on Facebook too.
Sure.
So we see everything. And as long as there's social distancing going on, there are people on camera live
Mhm.
and their voices on radio.
Yes. Remember, we're dealing with kids, and I don't want to put those kids in predicaments. Adults, I think, can make adult choices, yeah, but I think when kids are out and about and doing the speaking and so forth, I don't feel comfortable.
Are you saying when they come up one at a time and then they leave their germs? Is that what you're afraid of?
Well, it could be, yes, ma'am. And whenever they're speaking, now when they get out of the car, they're just walking across the stage
Yes.
and getting their diploma. They're not speaking. They're not holding microphones. They don't have papers with them. They're not going through paperwork, standing at the podium, doing that type of thing. When the next kid comes up to do that, the salutatorian or what have you.
Couldn't you sanitize one little microphone? Yeah.
Honestly,
think about it.
I'll think about it, but I'm not comfortable with that with kids.
I know we were right with the health department. We didn't have to have a license because of the radio station we used and all that stuff, and we were all in sync with the health department and social distancing for our church service. Mm-hmm. And there are people who come to the microphone and sing, mm-hmm. and of course the pastor, preaches, and there's social distancing, but also I think it's safe for them.
Yeah. It is.
It may be different for kids. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kids that I'm working with, and not adults. I think adults can make their decisions like that, but I don't want to put a kid in that predicament.
I think it sounds like a great plan, and I think it's a great way. It's going to be different. The kids, but it'll give them something to remember. And then if we can have another ceremony later on, I think that would be very special for these kids. So I love the idea that they're taking a picture of the graduate walking across the stage. I think that's wonderful. And we're going to be giving those pictures to the kids. They don't have to pay for those, right?
No, that's correct. Yes. We've already paid for, or we're going to be paying for them.
Good. I like that idea.
Yeah. You brought up a good point there, Ms. Day. I don't think we forget our graduation. If you go back to 1989, for me, I remember it. These kids will never forget this. I mean, unfortunately, or fortunately, it'll be different.
They'll have a story to tell their grandkids.
Absolutely.
The poster of Mr. Holbrook, does he have his hand out?
I haven't seen it. I don't know how he's doing that.
He probably got his FBI on. Okay, do we have a motion? Or I'm sorry, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Okay, 9.15. Pursuant to Senate Bill 177, signed in Kentucky law, March 24th, 2020, Section 8, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the following changes to the certified evaluation plan draft for school year 2019-2020, as the ability to follow this year's certified evaluation plan is dramatically reduced to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. This will be temporary changes for this school year only as submitted. 1, all remaining observations for tenured employees for the 2019-2020 school year will be waived and will not be completed. This includes principals and administrators as well as teachers. 2, any summative evaluations for tenured employees that were to be completed during the 2019-2020 school year will be suspended for the remainder of this school year and continue during the 2020-21 school year. This means for evaluation cycle purposes, 2020 through 2021 will now be counted as a summative year, but only the remaining incomplete portions of the evaluation must be completed. 3, any remaining observations and evaluations of non-tenured teachers for the 2019-2020 school year will be waived, but this will not affect their progress towards tenure. For example, a teacher who is currently completing their 4th year will not be denied tenure at the beginning of 2020-21 school year due to an incomplete summative evaluation for the 2019-2020 school year. See CEP attachment with amendments highlighted. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy? Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.16, consider approving requests from Lonnie Thacker, Food Service Manager for Boyd County Public Schools to operate the Summer Food Service Program for 2020 as indicated. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy? Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.17, consider request from Lonnie Thacker, Food Service Director, to increase all full-time cafeteria employees, substitute cook/bakers, and bus drivers working the 2020 Summer Feed Program, SFSP, to receive a $2 per hour increase to their current hourly pay rate. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.18, pursuant to Senate Bill 177, in accordance to KRS 161.152, consider superintendent's recommendation to authorize additional emergency leave days to full and part-time employees, not to exceed 5, above the current statutory limit of 3 days as stipulated in board policies 03.1236 and 03.2236, for sufficient reasons relating to the current state of emergency due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic for the remainder of 2019-2020 school year. This is not a permanent change in policy. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy? Sorry.
I guess I was zoning because the dog.
Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 9.19, consider superintendent's recommendation to divide the Boyd County High School Phase 4 Athletics Direct Purchase Order for Sprint Turf to the following vendors: Integrated Turf Solutions, Intech, Target Technologies, Maypie, Site Supply, and Hanson Aggregate, as recommended by Sherman Carter Barnhart Architects. The amount is not changing, only being broken out into these 6 vendors. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy? Mindy? Sorry.
That's fine. We live in the real world and we live in our houses, right?
We do, and I can't make them hush. Any discussion?
Mr. Bobley,
Yes, ma'am.
why is that? Can you explain that a little more, what's
Yes,
going
ma'am.
on?
We originally were going to pay this with one purchase order to Sherman Carter, if I'm not mistaken, or the vendor Sprint Turf, but they have subcontractors that they have to be paid separately. So we have to take that one purchase order that we originally did and change it to that and pay that individual person or that individual company.
So it hadn't, the amount hasn't changed.
No, ma'am, the amount has not changed. I think we were originally told to do it this way, then had to go back and Sherman Carter said not do it this way.
All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.20. Or I think it's
That's the
number.
addendum.
Is this the addendum? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Pursuant to 704 KAR 3305, local district considerations and due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and issuance by the governor's executive order 2020-215, declaring the state of emergency throughout Kentucky pursuant to his power under the Kentucky Constitution and KRS Chapter 39A regarding the threats to public health presented by COVID-19 pandemic of March 6, 2020, consider the superintendent's recommendation to waive the individual learning plan, ILP, from graduation requirements for the 2019-2020 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Tammy?
Second.
Second. Mindy? Discussion? We discussed this earlier, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Okay, we'll move on to our consent items. Do I have a motion to accept the consent items as listed?
So moved.
Second.
Tammy, second.
Second. Second.
Any discussion on the consent items?
Mr. Boblett, I guess this is probably early, but do you have any notifications of retirements or resignations or anything at this point?
Yes, ma'am, I do have some notifications. But
We don't-
not official, nothing. Well, actually, I got an official one today. I've not got any official retirements yet, but I've got a couple of official resignations. A couple people are moving out of the area. So those are starting to trickle in now.
Anybody in the math and science areas, it's going to be hard for us to get positions?
Not that I know of so far.
Okay.
Yeah, those are always a struggle to get
No,
those people. And I think right now it's even going to be a more difficult struggle to going through, the onboarding process and so forth. We can still post jobs, but, it's just different to do our interviews with, they're doing, they have to do an interview like this and so forth. So
yeah.
everything's a little more difficult.
Was it last year or the year before last was it Moorhead that didn't have any science majors?
I think it was
Education?
last year they just had, I think 2 or 3, very, very few, math and science, I think total, very few, count them on one hand.
It'd be nice to get those resignations or retirements early so we can start.
Absolutely.
That's everybody's right to resign or retire when they want to.
Absolutely.
Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. We need to acknowledge that we had no personnel actions for the month. And the focus of our next topics for the next meeting will be, we need to discuss and set a meeting time, date, and place for the special budget meeting with the board and the superintendent and the finance director. Student code of conduct booklet draft with Pete Fraley and Darisu Stevens and Matt Spade, and a tentative working budget with Scott Burgett. Do we have any other things that we need to add to the topics of our next meeting?
Miss Day, if you wouldn't mind, just to let you all know, I'll ask Carol probably either tomorrow or Thursday. We'll look at a date and give you a couple of dates, see what works for you all as far as that budget working session that we do every year. We'll probably have to do it virtually, but I'd like to get us talking about that before our May meeting, which should be the 26th of May. So we've got some time, but Scott and I have been talking about some things, probably scaling back some things that we originally planned because of who knows. If you remember, we only have this legislative session that just ended. Typically it's a 2-year budget cycle, but they only approved a 1-year budget because of the COVID-19 virus. So there's a lot of things that could be up in the air. We keep hearing about federal money that's going to be coming in till that money's in our bank account. And the check's not just in the mail, but it's in the account. It's a little tough to spend, but there's a few things that I think as a district that we've talked about over the last year or so that we could probably move forward with, but maybe not on quite a larger scale.
Hey, Randy, how come your little guy hadn't put his head in?
Well, they're outside playing.
Oh. I missed his little face.
It's cute.
Okay, is there anything else? Okay, Well, this was our first online meeting, and it was kind of fun.
It went well. It went well.
I think so. I think so too. So, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Tammy? Second. All those in favor? Okay. Meeting adjourned, and the time is 6:54. Thank you all.
You all
See
take
y'all.
care.
Bye.
Bye.